For years, we've been asking EA to bring back a real career mode to Madden. One that lets us be the superstar, go through the combine, and play through storylines that help define our character. This year in Madden 20, that finally returns. Not in the exact way that everybody wanted, but hopefully this is the beginning of something great that will continue to grow and get better for years to come. Today we'll be going over everything you need to know about the new career mode titled Face of the Franchise QB1. I'll go over the positives, the negatives, and answer feedback that I've seen around the mode. We'll talk about what you can expect this year and what the future holds for this game mode. Throughout the video you'll also see a few new screenshots from the game mode as well. Now really quickly before we get into the breakdown, I just want to say that I've been seeing a lot of feedback on the new videos of, all this is nice, but what about the gameplay? We need to know about the gameplay. They're not addressing gameplay. Look, they have a schedule that they have put out of when they're going to talk about each thing. Gameplay is going to be discussed heavily on May 23rd, so circle that date on your calendar. Right now we're talking a lot about franchise mode and career mode. They have not really gone into much detail about gameplay yet outside of a very few things, so May 23rd is when we're going to hear about gameplay and gameplay only. Usually they wait to talk about gameplay because they're still addressing gameplay right now. At the end of the cycle is when they're pretty much only doing gameplay because everything else is pretty much built out by now. So they continue working on gameplay up until literally, a week or two before the game ships. So it's kind of important that they wait longer to talk about it because 2 weeks from now they could have something new implemented or a lot more things cleaned up with the gameplay than they don't have right now. So May 23rd is when you're going to understand everything you need to know about that. So let's get into it. EA put out an article on the new career mode. They also did a stream afterwards, and the stream dove really deep and, showed some new screenshots, showed us a lot of new, in-depth things about the mode. So I'm going to read the article first, and then I'm going to go over what was covered in the stream, and then I'll answer, feedback that I've seen give positives and negatives. So first, the article, it says, it's every football lover's dream to experience the thrills and excitement of becoming an NFL superstar in the NFL, and that's exactly what you'll do in Face of the Franchise, unleashing in Madden 20. Welcome to the football narrative where you are the star. So here it says you're preparing for the pros. When talking and listening to players, we kept hearing that being a star of their own football story would be fantastic. With that in mind, we crafted Face of the Franchise QB1, where the story is not only about you, but one where the choices you make matter. It kicks off with creating yourself as a QB, even using face editing to get an improved likeness. Once you have your player, you begin in college, choosing from the top schools to attend, then competing for a national championship in the college football playoffs. Become the big man on campus and take home the title, but bring your A game because your performance in college, just like in the real collegiate gridiron, has an impact on your capabilities and your draft stock. The NFL draft doesn't just happen though, the combine comes first. Ever increasing in importance and scrutinization, the combine is a key part of the process. Here, if you want your stock to soar, you'll need to focus on every rep and decision you make to keep your name rising on the draft boards. Where will you get picked and where will your NFL career start? You'll find out on draft day. No matter where you get drafted from first round to last, once a team picks you, you're going to have to show you belong playing with the pros. Whether you're a first rounder who needs to prove you were worth that perfect high pick, or a 7th rounder busting your butt to make sure that you make the roster. If you want success, you have to work hard and make each opportunity count. In the NFL, start building your legacy and taking your franchise to winning seasons, expanding your legend with each snap. It's not about the cash your contract racks up, but how many Super Bowls you win as your legend grows. Give your all and have fun and play your way into memorable moments. When you celebrate your career at the end, how will you be remembered among the greats? Will you be in the Hall of Fame alongside them? As you live your superstar story, Madden's new scenario engine generates personalized playable scenarios, events, and dynamic challenges that tell the tale of a unique NFL career. Adding to it in Face of the Franchise, like in franchise mode, you choose your archetype. You have strong arm, scrambler, improviser, and field general. Superstar abilities are tied to the archetype you pick. Leveling up your archetypes unlocks different abilities. It's time for you to take your place as the face of the franchise. So that was the article. It didn't really go too in depth. It sounds good, but the stream that came afterwards went a lot more in depth. Mike Young came on the stream. He really went into details, also revealed some new screenshots and clips. So that's what we're going to be getting into now, kind of diving a little bit deeper on what you need to know about this mode. He said, Everything you do in this mode matters. It either changes the type of QB you are, your draft position, improves your relationship with characters in the storyline, and more. There's going to be tough choices and decisions you'll have to make throughout this entire mode. The entire mode is about personalization and your unique journey to the NFL. Mike Young said the disappointment with Longshot was that it wasn't you, there wasn't any personalization, and there really wasn't that many different ways for the story to end. You didn't really get to play any college ball or have many different scenarios that impacted what happened. So let's first talk about the face editing, where the mode really starts. Mike Young during the stream, talked about this and how in past years you were only able to pick a generic face. This year you'll have a whole slew of editing tools including hair, nose shapes, mouth shapes, beard styles, voice editing, and much more. He said if you can't make the player look like you, then it doesn't feel like you. This is actually an area that NBA Live has nailed. Whenever I've played that game over the past couple years, I've always shocked at how detailed the player creation is. Meanwhile, Madden, we had like 4 generic faces to choose from. Thankfully, Madden finally fixed that this year, and hopefully this only improves going forward. You're going to next be presented with the decision of picking what type of QB you want to model your game after. These are based on the archetypes that were introduced in Madden 19. So for your QB, you can pick between improviser, strong arm, field general, and scrambler. Your archetype determines what kind of abilities you can get and what kind of player you have the potential to develop into. This can also determine where you get drafted. Maybe you pick scrambler, but you fall in the draft because the QB needy teams at the top of the draft want more of a field general. All of these choices have an effect on your path. That's something they really tried to nail home in the stream, is that the choices really matter, and there's tons of different choices and tons of different ways that your character can wind up going. It's not something that you're just going to see a few different scenarios play out. There's tons of them. Now, before you go into your college games, you'll actually do pre-game workouts with another high-profile draft prospect wide receiver. He's somebody you'll meet along the way in the story. It says you'll be on the field doing drills, not in full pads, which is something we haven't seen in a while with Madden. You'll be kind of just in pre-game, workout gear, running drills. This serves multiple purposes. For one, it immerses you into the storyline of getting ready for the big game, but it also serves as a training tool for new players or people who are returning to the game for the first time in years. You'll learn all the basic functions of operating a QB in Madden while you do drills with another big name draft prospect to prepare for the college football playoff. Now, hopefully you go all the way and win the national championship, as this will undoubtedly raise your draft stock, but that's just the beginning of the process. Up next, you're thrust into the NFL Combine, competing alongside other top QB prospects this year like Kyler Murray, Dwayne Haskins, and more. You'll go through drills, GM interviews where you get put on the hot seat with tough questions, a press conference, and more. You'll run into other NFL players and NFL prospects like Pat Mahomes and Kyler Murray. The whole idea is to make you feel completely immersed in this environment on your path to the NFL. Up next is the NFL Draft, of course, where every decision you've made and every rep you've taken comes into play right now. You can be the top QB taken in the first round, or you can be a late round project if you didn't impress these teams enough. Mike Young says that there's so many different ways your story can play out that he feels people will want to replay it, trying different archetypes, making different decisions, trying to craft that perfect path for your quarterback. People might want to try to be the first QB taken in the draft, but you'll have to figure out how to make that happen through trying different scenarios. Once you're in the league, this is when the scenario engine pretty much takes over, crafting different storylines week to week for your players. Some storylines last longer than others, and once again, every decision you make and how you perform affects all of this. If you're playing bad, you could get put on the hot seat and have to turn it around quickly or risk losing your job. You'll have goals and other things to meet, which can affect how you upgrade your player, the abilities you can get, and more. Mike Young says you'll unlock different abilities along the way that you can try on your players. Some may fit your play style while others may not. It gives you more of a reason to keep playing, as you'll want to unlock these new features for your quarterback and really tailor his game to fit how you want your quarterback to play. So that is the basic info we've gotten about all of this. I think my personal thoughts, there's a lot of good here. There are, a couple negatives, but I think, the face editing finally being able to edit the face and all the different options is definitely good. Something Madden has been way behind on. College football being back, something that's cool, getting to play a little bit of college. The pre-draft stuff all sounds really good. If it truly is as immersive as they're saying, and there's many different paths and scenarios you can go down, that's going to make it feel unique to each person playing, and like he said, give you a reason to maybe replay it and try it again and try a different archetype, try to create a different story. And it's also said that you can go 15 years deep on this, because I've seen some people saying, oh, is this just like a 1-year playthrough? Is it like Long Shot? You just play through the story, you go, play one season and it's over. No, you play for 15 years. You literally can build a legacy, and every year you're going to have new storylines that will be updated throughout the year. They're going to add new storylines and abilities into the game throughout the year. So there's going to always be new things you can obtain, new stories you can play through, and you can really build, a Hall of Fame career is what you're trying to do. So now let's get into some concerns, the negatives, and the feedback around the mode. Obviously, the big one is you can only be a quarterback, which is a very valid complaint and honestly a disappointment. Compared to the Superstar mode we had of years past, we want to be different positions, offensive skill positions, defensive players. Some people want to be kicker or punter. To my knowledge, from what I've heard, is they do have the plans to build that out in the years to come and make the mode better and have all positions, but according to what I heard, their data said that about 80% of people that play career mode in Madden pick quarterback, which really isn't hard to believe. So I think they just wanted to get the mode back into the game this year, and had they just spent the whole development cycle working on just this mode and adding all positions, that probably would have been at the detriment of things like making gameplay better or adding the franchise, because quite frankly, Madden is far behind in pretty much every area, so they need to upgrade the game equally, and they need to keep doing that in the years going forward to get it where it needs to be. So if they only focused on putting just the perfect Superstar mode into the game, well, then the rest of the game would still be behind. But obviously, when you bring franchise mode, or excuse me, career mode back, and you're already behind by not having it, and you bring it back and it's only quarterback, people are not going to be happy about that. But I guess their thought process is we want to get it back in the game. If 80% of people are going to be quarterback anyway, that'll satisfy the far majority of people that want this mode back into the game as we build it out in the following years. But if you want to be other positions, then obviously this year just isn't going to be the game for you. Another complaint I've seen is there's only 10 college teams to choose from. Personally, I think this one is nitpicky. Any other sports game that does this usually has less than 10 college teams to choose from, and the fact is they're not going to license the entire NCAA for something that's such a small part of the mode. You're only playing 2 games. If anything, if you're a high school athlete, a lot of times you don't get to go to the college you want to go to. You have to go to a school that gives you a scholarship. So kind of look at it like that. This isn't NCAA. This is just a small part of the mode. They're not going to license 50 teams and take money away from putting it into things like franchise and gameplay just so you have more colleges to choose from. Personally, I think it's nitpicky. Some people are saying, well, how come Alabama or Ohio State aren't in the game? I'm pretty sure they reached out to those kind of schools, but not every school wanted to, have their license in the game. If they don't want to be a part of it, they can't make them. I'm more than sure they reached out to Alabama, as they're in the national championship almost every year. But if they didn't want to be a part of it, if Saban and his program didn't want to be a part of this, EA can't make that happen. So that one is that's probably why they're not in the game. Another concern I've seen is that it's all pre-draft stuff, and when you get to the franchise mode part, you're just playing the same franchise mode of years past, but that's not true, because the scenario engine takes over at that point, brings you through storylines, different things to do, different challenges that you have to complete to earn XP and abilities based on who you're going up against that week. Your coach or ownership might force you into a certain situation where you have to perform, so it's going to be like a living, breathing thing that they will update, they also said, throughout the year. If that's true and we hold them to that, that would be good. Another thing I've seen is that, you can only be a QB, you can't be anybody else in regular career mode. You can still do regular career mode and be other positions, you just don't get the pre-draft stuff. You still get the scenario engine in franchise mode, but you don't get the college football playoff and stuff like that. So if you do want to be like a linebacker, you can still do that. You're just not going to get all of the extra stuff that's there this year. And lastly, about the team that drafts you, what if you get drafted by a team you don't like? Supposedly, there is a way that you can kind of strong arm your way to a team that you do like, but keep in mind, if you want to play for the Chiefs, not likely that you're going to start over Mahomes, so you have to kind of keep in mind like where you try to go. But you will be drafted by a random team. You could be 1st round, 7th round. You don't know where you're going to go, but if you don't like it, you can pick another team. So that's about it. That's all for today. Let me know your positive, negative thoughts on this. Let me know below, and as always, I will see you guys next time.